Anyone can list the best players in the NBA, but basketball is as much about chemistry as it is talent. Within each of the league's 30 teams is a hierarchy, and how well each of the five players on the court understands and performs his role within that hierarchy is every bit as important as his individual skill. Ideally, a lineup has its superstar, a deferential co-star, a third star who owns his role, a fourth option, and a fifth starter to tie it all together. Clear numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. In this series, we rank the five best players from each tier for a broader look across the league. How close does your team come to an ideal lineup? What is a number 3? He is still a star, at least on a good team, but he is sacrificing some faction of his game for the greater good of the team. He usually leans into his greatest skill, whether that is flame-throwing threes or defending like crazy. Ideally, it is both, and if you ask more from your third star, he answers the call. There is a balance to downsizing your role and remaining as efficient as ever, and it is the third star's responsibility to strike it. Think of Kevin Love on the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers. He arrived from a lottery team in Minnesota, where he was the number one, and an entirely different player at that, doing most of his damage inside of 8 feet, but transitioned into a 3 and D weapon behind LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. The greatest teams in NBA history featured Hall of Fame talents who might have been even more productive on lesser rosters. You know them well: Robert Parrish, James Worthy, Dennis Rodman, etc. They managed to understand their position in the pecking order and find their own way to thrive in it. George has been a number 1 and a number 2 on teams that reached the conference finals. And in Philadelphia, he will presumably be the number 3, acquiescing to recent MVP Joel Embiid and rising star Tyrese Maxey. How well George adjusts to that role will go a long way toward dictating how well the Sixers play this season. He has the skill set. George is a 4-time all-defensive wing who shot 43.5% on catch-and-shoot threes last season. And if that is all he has to do in the space created by Embiid and Maxey, Philly is going to crush. If there is ambiguity about who is second build, ripples can disrupt chemistry across a roster. George is a 9-time All-Star who has subjugated his skill for fellow veterans Russell Westbrook and Kawhi Leonard. Will he do the same for Maxey, who is an unfinished product, albeit an electric one in its current state? You get the feeling George is comfortable on the periphery, but when Embiid misses time, someone will have to serve as the Sixers' number 1, and Maxey was not prepared for that last season. Enter George, who has grown accustomed to spot duty as a primary option, a luxury few number 3s can provide. That said, shifting back and forth between roles can be a difficult path to navigate, even for a 34-year-old. For all the jokes about Gobert, not many players star in their roles as well as he does. He is asked to defend, and he is a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. He is far less effective defending in space than he is as a rim protector, creating all sorts of issues against small ball lineups. And he was benched by his home country at points in the Olympics, but he was the anchor of the NBA's best defense last season.